Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for tuning into this presentation. Today's presentation is going to be about the international expansion of Ulta Beauty and breaking down two particular markets, two potential markets that Ulta Beauty could expand into, and giving a recommendation on which of those markets would be the best for international expansion for Ulta Beauty. So, for today's content, we're going to talk about the goals for expanding, and we're going to talk about those two markets, which are Mexico City and Toronto, as well as giving a financial analysis of Ulta Beauty and giving that final recommendation of which of those markets would be the best fit for international expansion. For expansion goals, they are very similar to the strategic communication goals listed in the strategic communications plan. And those goals are to grow the awareness of the Ulta Beauty brand globally. Currently, Ulta Beauty only operates in the United States. And so Ulta Beauty is looking to grow that brand beyond the United States. And also the goal of increasing foot traffic, e commerce, and just revenue in general, as well as building partnerships and relationships in surrounding countries. So, for Mexico City, the economy, there has been an increase in disposable income. And while there has been that increase, there's still been some uncertainty with economic stability. So, the question of if this disposable income was to later on decrease, what would that do to the economy? What would that do to the business community and business climate? And another thing to call out is there's a small percentage of middle class and wealthy class citizens who are able to afford cosmetic products and beauty products. So, with that being only a small percentage, the rest of the citizens are in a lower class. Well, the rest of the citizens do not have the disposable income to afford cosmetics and beauty products. For culture and media, linear TV is still dominating in Latin America as well as Mexico. And while there has been a growth in social media through younger demographics, there's still been an underdevelopment of e commerce. And a lot of this is due to very rural areas that are in Mexico City that do not have access to internet connection to be able to purchase products online. And so that kind of puts e commerce at a disadvantage. For politics, the federal government is headquartered in Mexico City, and Mexico just recently elected a new president, the first woman elected to presidency in Mexico, and their local leaders are, voted in. Whereas much of Mexico City's history and much of Mexico's history, they weren't able to elect leaders in, but now they do have that ability to do so. For the business climate, there's been a growing demand of skincare and hair care products. Those are the two leading sectors in the cosmetics industry in Mexico. Also, there's been a growth of men who are interested in purchasing grooming products, so products for beards and facial hair. And there is an increase in beauty shoppers wanting eco-friendly and sustainable products. So having an interest in sustainable packaging, also an interest in cruelty-free products. For law and ethics, Mexico has implemented a national anti-corruption system, and in that they have wanted to um, target against unethical practices that have plagued the country for far too long. So, this recent implementation has been backed by the government as well as by citizens and residents. For communication norms, we know that Mexico is a Spanish speaking country, and most likely Ulta Beauty would need a translator during the expansion process. There could be a potential, and there is a potential communication barrier there, as well as in communication, hierarchies really matter in communication for Mexico. So, for example, there, people who are of a higher power are there. So people of a higher power, for example, a manager at work would have have a more dominant presence versus someone who is of lesser power, such as an employee of a manager. For Toronto, the economy is ranked ninth in the world, while Mexico is ranked 13th. And in Toronto, there were several industries that brought in $2.5 billion into the economy back in 2021. So, kind of post pandemic or getting closer towards the end of the pandemic. And Canada, or Toronto, is considered the commerce hub of Canada. For culture and media, Toronto is also seen as the center for arts and technology and innovation. So there was definitely a boost in e commerce after the pandemic. Also, Canada is home to the e commerce platform known as Shopify, and beauty customization and personalization, excuse me, is becoming very popular for beauty shoppers in Canada. So being able to personalize lipsticks and fragrances, and being able to customize skincare products, is very popular in that area. Politically, Canada is under the British monarchy, and so the country's leaders are appointed by the British monarchy. Leaders such as the Prime Minister of Canada and the Governor General of Canada; those are selected by the British monarchy. And while those residents in Toronto or Canada don't have the ability to elect those leaders, residents in Toronto can elect city leaders. So the mayor and the city council are all voted on by residents in Toronto. Continuing on with the business climate, there has been a demand for skincare, body care, and makeup. And with makeup, that's really showing how beauty shoppers are into customization. So being able to create their favorite look or personalize their look is very popular in Canada and in Toronto. Also, younger shoppers are opting into e-commerce. So again, Toronto has seen a boost of e-commerce since the pandemic. Also, beauty shoppers in Toronto are on the hunt for quality products. For law and ethics, Toronto did pass the City of Toronto Act, which was meant to hold, and this was passed in 2007, and this is meant to hold public servants accountable, and to make them aware of conflicts of interest, and as well as being able to admit to wrongdoing. So, it's basically to help the city to remain focused on upholding their city values. For communication norms, English and French are the primary languages of the country. Toronto is an English speaking city in Canada, so there is not really a communication barrier that will take place. And as well as the lack of communication barrier, there are similar communication norms in Canada as they are in America. So for the financial analysis, you can see here net sales, you can see the cost of sales and other different line items. So being able to see this from year over year, so from 2023 until now, 2024. And these dollars are in thousands. And so, a breakdown of this financial analysis, there was a 3.5% increase of net sales. However, net income did drop by 9% this year. And that was honestly due to the increase of expenses over the last year, such as pre opening costs. So, trying to get new stores open and everything that is taking to get new stores open, as well as some administrative costs, which definitely includes the strategic initiatives that Ulta Beauty has been implementing, and an increase in employee pay and benefits and additional corporate responsibilities. So, a lot of these decreases in net income weren't necessarily bad. They were good decisions made by the company to be able to make sure employees are satisfied and to make sure that the company is progressing. For the final recommendation, after extensive research, we decided that it would be best for the international expansion to take place in Toronto. And Mexico City does have a growing digital footprint with social media on the rise, YouTube and influencers on the rise. Um, However, it is still growing as well as the economy is still growing. So Toronto has more of a futuristic approach to policies and media, and everything is very beneficial to the Canadian beauty industry, and not only to the Canadian beauty industry, but to Ulta Beauty. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this presentation. I thank you for your time and your attention. And yes, thank you again for listening in.